Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 8th session of council this Thursday, April 11th. In-person meetings have resumed with a hybrid format where members of council and the public can still join electronically via Zoom. The meeting is being live streamed and recorded and will be available on the township website. All rules apply to the meeting as if everyone was attending in person. And if there is a problem with the technology impacting the proceedings of the meeting may be recessed at the direction of the mayor to confirm the electronic format is performing effectively before proceeding further with the agenda. In the event of the connection or service disruption to those attending electronically, the mayor may recess the meeting to allow for attempts to reconnect. So at this time, we call the meeting to order, and I would ask anyone that can to rise for the playing of the national anthem. You please be seated. We acknowledge that we are being hosted on ancestral lands of the Haudenosaunee, Michisagi, and Omama-Winini people. We acknowledge and welcome the presence of all Indigenous peoples, including the Métis, Inuit, and other First Nations from across this vast land who make this place home. The lands we are on today are recognized in the Two-Row Wampum, Dish with One Spoon Treaty, Treaty 27, and the Crawford Purchase. Yes. I was just reminded that I missed one item, rise and report. When I called the meeting to order, we were called to order at 5:30 this evening. We had closed session before coming into open. And at this point, we would rise and report that in the continuing interest of transparency and open government, the mayor reports in open session the following outcomes from today's closed session meeting. Closed session meeting minutes of March 27, 2023 were adopted as circulated, and direction was provided to staff on all three reports that were presented and were listed in the agenda. Could I have a mover and a seconder for the rising report? Moved by Councillor Broderick, seconded by Councillor Willis. All in favor, please raise a hand. Motion is passed. Thank you for the reminder. So we're now at the open forum. The first 15 minutes of any regular council meeting will be set aside for open forum. Any individual may address council to voice opinion on subjects of municipal concern, excluding matters subject to public meetings, i.e. under the Planning Act. Can only speak once and for no more than 3 minutes. Notice is hereby provided that under the authority of the Municipal Act 2001 and in accordance with the Ontario Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, that all information provided for or at a public meeting or consultation or other public process are considered part of the public record. In-person meetings have resumed with a hybrid format, as mentioned, and the option where individuals can join electronically. So we do have our register here that we've had to sign up for that are within the audience. So I'll call on them first, and then I'll go to the virtual audience to see if anyone there wishes to speak. So the first one that registered was Lynn Fleming. Ask you to come forward, just state your name and address, and then provide us with your information. And you'll see that on the screen, there will be a timer that comes up, just so you can time yourself to know when the 3 minutes is winding up, and you can have a seat if you wish.
Okay, I'll just.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Okay. The Recreation Committee, I'm speaking about the fireworks on Amherst Island. The Recreation Committee has been responsible for the Island Canada Day celebrations for more than 30 years. The parade started at 7 p.m. and ended at the community center, where there was music, unpaid island musicians, kids, games, judging of kids parade bites, free hot dog and drink for the first 250 people through the gate. One of the churches held a strawberry social at the community center following the parade. Over the next couple hours, the community arrived, lawn chairs in hand, setting up and visiting, listening to music, watching the kids on the play structure. Usually an impromptu game broke out on the soccer field, while road hockey game took place on the old rink. It wasn't big or fancy, but it was full community and family camaraderie. Prior to my retiring as a member on the Amherst Island Recreation Committee, I was a member for approximately 35 years. I have years of experience with the Island Canada Day festivities and fireworks. Everything was done by the book. Fireworks permit was signed each year by the township fire chief. We used a reputable and professional fireworks company. The volunteer fire department volunteered, did the staging for the parade, participated in the parade, at times provided fun for the kids following the parade, and finally stood at the ready for during fireworks. We received a small grant from the township each year for the Canada Day. Before amalgamation as a small rural community, we received a government grant for small communities. During amalgamation negotiations, it was decided, because we were no longer eligible for that grant, we would receive one from the township so we could continue our Community Canada Day festivities. Comparing Bath Canada Day to the islands is not even on the same playing field. Bath at one time was the largest in Ontario and one of the largest in the country, with vendors, food, entertainment, people from great distances coming to attend. The island has always been focused on island community and family. In the past, the island and Bath had a close relationship with community members attending each other's dances, fundraisers, dinners, everything. In recent years, though, it seems township decisions have caused friction, competition, and conflict between many loyal township communities instead of uniting them as one community. Finally, Bath's own Canada Day Committee canceled the fireworks in Bath, not the township, and not by Bath community consensus. So using the staff reasoning of equity across the township, then the Island Recreation Committee should be allowed to make the same decision if and when that time comes. The township, more specifically the staff, should not be deciding this. What information did the staff base their decision on? What are their comparisons? Did they talk to anyone who's actually been involved in the island event? We do not need a high-paid staff member in attendance. We have held this celebration for more than 30 years, totally run by volunteers and without incident. Has council considered the amount of unsanctioned, uninsured fireworks that could and probably would result from this decision? Previous staff misinformation to council and community has already caused a community uproar over another subject, and that's regarding licensed events at the community center at the school. And nobody spoke to anybody, nobody asked, they asked one general question of the school board without any information. That was all, and they made their decision. I personally believe Loyalist Township staff have too much control over decisions making and township finances with no evidence, information, or facts back it up. Who is this staff? Who, with their nameless, faceless, they weren't elected, you people were.
You're over your time by a fair bit, so if we could wrap up, that would be great. Thank you.
And council was elected, not staff.
Thank you. The next one is Linan Laffin.
Yeah, Linan,
Oh, sorry.
do I have to press the talk button?
It should be all ready to go.
Oh, okay, so all I have to do is talk.
Yep.
Yeah, push the.
Isn't
Started.
Push the talk button. Oh, there we go. Thank you.
Just 1 second. I'm not sure who, can we just get the clock reset too, please, once?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Okay. And if you'd like, you can proceed.
Talking really fast.
Okay, you can proceed whenever you wish.
Thank you. My name is Linan Laffin. I'm a longtime resident of Amherst Island. I raised a family there. I spent about 15 years on the fire department, and I started the first response team on the island. My late husband, Jim Whitten, was a township councillor there, and he was actually the chair of our recreation committee when the fireworks began. I'd like to make 4 quick points. First of all, Canada Day is the most important community event of the year on Amherst Island, and it is all about the fireworks. When we started, it was only fireworks. Then there was just so much community interest that we had a parade and a hot dog barbecue. And after the parade finishes at the school, the kids play and the adults chat. They're all waiting for the big event at dusk. Without the fireworks to culminate the day's celebrations, the other events will quickly die off. And for Amherst Island, Canada Day will become just one other weekend. My next couple of points are about comparing Bath and Amherst Island. The Bath Canada Day celebrations center around their parade. Their Canada Day events are designed to attract visitors from outside of Bath, to promote Bath and its local businesses, and encourage visitors to spend money there. In contrast, Canada Day on Amherst Island is all about community. The target audience is Amherst Island residents and families. My point here is that Amherst Island Canada Day celebrations have a much different purpose than what Bath's do. So a decision that works for Bath should not be translated to Amherst Island. My third point refers to the report, specifically to council being consistent between the Bath fireworks decision and the Amherst Island fireworks decision. Consistency in this case should be in approving the recommendation of the local Canada Day committee. For Bath, that recommendation was to exclude the fireworks. Council approved that. For Amherst Island, the recommendation is to continue and to fund the fireworks. For consistency with the Bath decision, council should similarly approve this recommendation. And my final point is about safety and security. Our Canada Day events are supervised by our fire department. The trucks are primed and waiting and at the scene, and most of the fire crew are present. The supervisory presence of the fire department keeps our Canada Day activities community focused, family focused, and probably most important, alcohol free. If this event disappears, many backyard parties will spring up. These will not be alcohol free, and neither will they be fireworks free. The risk associated with many unsupervised backyard fireworks events will be far higher than one large alcohol-free event that's tightly controlled and supervised by the Amherst Island Fire Department. In summary, the Canada Day celebration on Amherst Island is the most significant community event of the year. It is safe and it is well supervised. Without fireworks, the event will disappear. Thus, I urge Council to endorse and continue to financially support our fireworks.
Thank you. That's all for the ones that signed up to speak in chambers. I'll just ask, is there anyone else that wishes to speak? Seeing none, I'll go to the virtual audience. Is there anyone in the virtual audience that wishes to address council? If so, please use the raised hand feature and we can bring you into the meeting. Seeing none, we'll proceed. Confirmation of agenda. Do we have a mover for the adoption that the agenda for the April 11th, 2023 be adopted as circulated? Do I have a mover? Councillor Broderick, seconded by Councillor Ennis. All in favor, please raise a hand. Motion is passed. Declaration of pecuniary interest or the general nature of thereof. Is there anyone that has a declaration of pecuniary interest for the items in open, or if they want to publicly declare their declaration enclosed? Councillor Broderick.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. I just wanted to publicly say that I declared a conflict in the closed session on item 5.2 as I became aware of a conflict upon receipt of the closed session package. I have a family member who's a minority owner of the company named in the item. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other declarations? Seeing none. Move on to adoption of the minutes. We have the minutes of the March 27th, 2023. Any errors or omissions noted by council? Seeing none, we have a motion. The minutes of the March 27, 2023 regular council meeting be adopted as circulated. Do we have a mover? Councillor Willis, seconded by Councillor Ennis. Call the question. All in favor? Please raise a hand. Motion is passed. Confirmation of minutes of the Committee of the Whole, April 3rd, 2023. Scrolling down. Any errors or omissions noted by council? Seeing none. Oh, Councillor Blueberry.
Just move.
Okay. Move to receive and adopt as circulated. So moved, seconded by Councillor Ennis. Any comments on this item? Seeing none, call the question. Motion is passed. Corporate Services Department, Pound Services with the Kingston Humane Society. We have the director coming forward. Welcome. Do you have anything to add?
Nothing to add, Your Worship.
Nothing to add? Okay. We have a report with recommendation. The report from the Corporate Services, April 11, 2023, Repound Services of Kingston Humane Society be received, and that bylaw 2023-032 being a bylaw to enter an agreement with Kingston Humane Society for pound services be enacted and passed, and that the mayor and CAO be authorized to execute the service agreement as presented. Could we have a motion to put this on the floor? Moved by Councillor Broderick, seconded by Councillor Parks. Mover, any comments?
No comments, fairly straightforward.
Thank you. Seconder? No comment. Anyone else? Seeing none, call the question. All in favor? Motion is passed. Green and Inclusive Community Buildings Program. I guess this is same director. You're already here. Anything to add for this one? Okay. We have the report and the recommendation that the report from Corporate Services, April 11, 2023, read Green and Inclusive Community Buildings Program be received, and that bylaw 2023-031 being a bylaw to delegate the authority to the mayor and CAO to enter into a contribution agreement with the Government of Canada for funding under the Green and Inclusive Community Building Program, so long as the items are satisfied to the CAO, be enacted and passed. Could I have a motion? Councillor Boozert, so moved, seconded by Councillor Parks. Any comments from the mover, seconder, anyone else? Seeing none, call the question. All in favor, please raise a hand. Motion is passed. (2023) tax rates and the tax levy bylaw.
Me again.
You're still. It saves some walking time when they're all lined up, right? Any additions to this?
Nothing.
Thank you. So we have a report with recommendation that the report 2023 tax rates, tax levy bylaw be received, and the bylaw 2023-021 establishing the 2023 tax rates and due dates for Loyalist Township and providing for the collection of property taxes for 2023 be enacted and passed. Do I have a mover? Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Ennis. Any comments from the deputy?
Yes, thank you through your worship. Just a last thank you, of course, to council and staff for a fruitful budget process, and ultimately for staff for trying to, of course, keep our tax increases as low as possible.
Thank you. Seconder?
Thank you. Through you, through the mayor. Just a comment, I know we do this, we put the insert when we mail out the tax bills, and we do our best to delineate the township portion and the county portion. Let's keep doing that. I don't think that's, we can all understand. Thank you.
Anyone else have comment? I too would just, before we call the vote, I would like to thank staff for bringing forward a very respectable budget. It wasn't pie in the sky. It was already pared down, and they presented it in a very understandable way and right to the point. So that was appreciated by myself, and I'm sure the rest of council as well, and the public that read it. And I would also like to thank council, the engagement, the questions, the making sure there was a good level of understanding, and to be able to make this decision. And just to note that our tax rate increase is probably the least I've seen in most of Ontario. It's been a tough time, and I'm very pleased that we were able to maintain our tax rate. And yes, the insert will clearly state the responsibilities and the funding because we do collect for the township, the county, and education, even though everybody thinks it all comes to the township. So with that, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Motion is passed. Community and Customer Services Department. Thank you. So the first one up is a transfer from Ferry Berthage Fees Reserve Fund. We do have a report before us. The recommendation is that the report from the Community and Customer Services Department, Public Works Division, dated April 11, 2023, read transfer from Ferry Berthage Fees Reserve Fund be received, and that council authorize a transfer in the amount of $19,559.88 from the Ferry Berthage Fees Reserve Fund as compensation for the township's direct expenses incurred in setting up the new ferry office. Director, is there any additional information that you wish to share?
Nothing further.
Thank you. With that, do we have a mover to put this on the floor? Councillor Willis, so moved, seconded by Councillor Broderick. Mover, any comments? Move seconder?
I just, through your worship, like, just for my own information, how's the fund, I guess, funded? What's the process so we got to the point where there's a significant amount of money in there? Does that come out of ferry fees every year? How's that?
Through your worship, this is a fund that was set up when the transfer of the docks happened originally. There's a bylaw that has been passed, so there isn't any new funds going into it. It's from that time. And there's a bylaw that passed that the funds that are utilized have to be for the docks and enhancement. We have to have approval from MTO to utilize it, and then once we have that, we have to come here to get a resolution to transfer the money over.
So that's sitting in a fund that is getting interest or whatever. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? There's a hand. Motion is passed. Reuse of Finkel Shores Park and Gazebo for live music. Anything to add on this one, Director?
Nothing further.
This is a long one to read. We have a report and a recommendation. I've started the habit of reading the recommendation so that everyone, when they're viewing YouTube, they know what we're dealing with. So bear with me. This is new for me too, and this is a long one. So the recommendation is that the report from the Community and Customer Service Department, April 11th, 2023, free use of Finkel Shore Park and Gazebo for live music Sundays be received, and the council approve the request for free use of the Finkel Shore Park and Gazebo and direct staff to transfer $1,722 from the park's free use budget account. It's got the account number to Parks Revenue Budget account number based on each of the following conditions being met by the Live Music Sundays event organizer. That the 2022 Renewable Energy Grant final report is submitted by the event organizer to the Corporate Business Services Department by May 1st, 2023, as required in section 5.5 of the policy. That a detailed event operational plan, including but not limited to an event logistics plan, i.e. production schedule, required equipment, etc., emergency management plan, inclement weather plan, parking plan, and a site map is submitted by the event organizer to the township by no later than 10 business days before the event the first scheduled event. That the cost of the insurance for the events will be the responsibility of the event organizer, and that the event organizer provides the township with a certificate of insurance, naming the township as additional insured as outlined in the park permit. That the organizer agrees that the events hosted are not for profit, and that the event budget will be provided to the township no later than 10 business days before the first scheduled event. That Loyalist Township be included as a sponsor on all advertising and marketing. That the event organizer provides a final report to the township by November 1st, 2023, which shall include the final schedule of events presented to the community, the total number of attendees per week, a detailed list of all sponsors and financial supporters of the event, details on how and when the events were advertised, and the financial report outlining all revenues and expenditures, and that if the above conditions are not met, the event organizer will be charged for Finkel Shore Park and Gazebo as outlined in the miscellaneous fees and charges plan. So with that, do I have a mover to put this on the floor? Councillor Booter.
So moved.
Seconded by Councillor Park. Mover, any comments, questions?
A few times last year, very well run, a nice piece of music. It's great for the community.
Thank you. Seconder, any comments?
No.
Okay. Anyone else? Any comments or questions? Councillor Willis.
I'll just yell. I agree with the others that it's good to have live music events and especially with local artists. One question about the expectation for the financial report, is that a specific report? Are receipts asked for? Is there any second party verification of it? What are the details around our expectation for that?
Do you have that information really available, Director?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I believe it outlines that it's basically a report that identifies the expenditures and the revenues that come in. It would be similar to the same report that has been asked for in the funding of the report that's requested from the renewable energy, like a similar, just that type of report.
Councillor Willis?
So in other situations with the renewable energy, if there were groups that were not registered as a not-for-profit or a charity, they were asked to get a second level verification of their financial report. So would we ask the same because this group is not a not-for-profit to anyone?
I'm not through you, Mr. Mayor. I'm, that's not a program that I run. So I'm not positive what was asked for from the other groups or what has been asked for in him providing the reports from the 2022 funding. All we're really looking for, most of the reuse that we do, it's through fundraising or it's through some kind of benefit. All we're really looking for is just that it's not where the money's coming in and where it's going. That's really all we're asking for.
Councillor Boudreaux.
Through you, just to clarify, in item D, it's basically saying that the organizer agrees that the events are hosted that are not for profit. So that's in the outline of what we're asking of them by agreeing to this.
Yes. Anyone else have any? Councillor Pradrick.
Just to state the fact that it's a good program. I know many people look forward to, and my only concern is that I'm hoping that for whatever reason, last year's report hasn't been in, that it's the deadline, because it'd be shame to lose it because of that.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Motion is passed. Amherst Island Canada Day fireworks request. Any additional information? Sure, this time. So we have the report in front of us with the recommendation that the report from the Community and Customer Services Department dated April 11th, 2023, re Amherst Island Canada Day fireworks request be received and the council maintain consistency across all township Canada Day celebrations and decline the Amherst Island Recreation Committee's request for funding to support Canada Day fireworks. Could I have a motion put on the floor, either the recommendation or one that's being presented, so that we can have a discussion? Councillor Willis?
So I would move that the Amherst Island Recreation Committee be funded and supported to provide fireworks on Amherst Island, provided that they are able to provide the following items: an operational plan for the event that would include an emergency management plan, parking plan, and site map, a copy of the agreement with the consultant hired, a copy of the consultant's certificate of insurance that includes the township named as additional insured, and a copy of the approved fireworks permit.
So moved. Seconded by?
I'll second that for discussion.
Seconded by Councillor Pradrick. Mover, you wish to provide comment?
Yes, so I think that the people that spoke tonight were very eloquent. So a lot of the points I would have wasted your time with have already been made, and I thank them for doing that. I did have a discussion with staff earlier today where I asked the question of what is the path forward to have a safe community event. And so there was discussion on that. And so that is where my motion is coming from, is looking at the things that would need to be in place to have a safe community event. And to support it with funding from discretionary funds, because wherever the money came from in past years, that it come from that same fund.
Okay. Seconder, do you have any comments?
Just more of observations. The process working through the fund never happened. It went directly to the CAO, and I think that's 2 years in a row that's happened. And in terms of the consistency, I don't know which speaker, I'm sorry, which one you brought it up, but they were very valid in their point that the BAF committee made that decision. It wasn't it wasn't a committee. It didn't get beyond that. So I think, it's a tough call, but I think as Councillor Willis has moved, if all these safety provisions are taken care of, and I just going forward next year, have a plan to maybe get either a sponsor or sponsors, because I have no idea what it would cost in terms of the whole package, but I think it's a valid request from the two ladies that spoke, and I think we had 8 or 9 emails there. So I would support this amendment as moved by Councillor Willis.
Thank you. Anyone else on council wish to speak to this? Seeing none. Excuse me.
I think you got a couple.
Oh, there are a couple. Okay, sorry. Councillor Brewer.
Just curious, I got the answer I was looking for about the BAF funding, so that's not a big deal, but do we have a ballpark idea on attendance for the Amherst Island fireworks? Through you, sorry, sir. Through we don't.
Through you, your worship. I don't know.
Okay.
Based on what was stated here.
I heard numbers. I just, yeah, okay. I'm just curious if we at the township.
I know that it is very well attended by the community on the island.
Deputy, did you have your hand up? Please proceed.
I will support the motion. I do think council has a duty to honor the long-standing traditions of Canada Day celebrations on Amherst Island, which have obviously and importantly included fireworks. It's clear that a visible majority of residents on the island regard the fireworks as an essential part of the festivities. It's entirely fair and reasonable to ensure that for this year, 2023, Island Canada Day events proceed in their conventional way, and that council does what it can to ensure that they happen to everyone's satisfaction, which includes whatever compliances need to be met to satisfy concerns of safety and liability. However, looking to the future beyond 2023, I am of the view, and it won't be popular, that Loyalist Township ought not to give aid or support to the use of fireworks at all, either by direct financial means, use of staff time, or lending of township property. It seems to me that the sunset for the discharge of fireworks is evidently on the horizon, with many jurisdictions choosing to forego these displays for multiple reasons, the more salient and commonly shared of which are concerns for the environmental impact of them. Whether it is the adverse and disorienting impacts on wildlife or the deposit of chemical particles that toxify air quality and water supply. The volume and quality of scientific literature on the subject is authoritative, and its assessment is generally negative. On balance, many see it as reasonable to retire this form of entertainment, and I count myself among those of that opinion. I know my position is not popular and will disappoint some, but I always declare a position nevertheless and have due respect for the public to be clear about it. In the interest of further clarity, I fully support the island's democratic right to hold legally conforming fireworks displays as part of their community celebrations, and I have no objection to the pursuit of alternative private venues and patronages in the future. I'm simply stating that for the reasons I've given moments ago, I can no longer support the township as a corporation providing support for the discharge of fireworks.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy. Any other, Councillor Parks?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm going to be unpopular with my discussion. I will not support the motion as it stands, and solely based on the fact that I think this is something that has to be, really across the township. And for that reason alone, that's why I'm not going to support the motion. I think it's regrettable. Expressed that concern when we talked about the Canada Day fireworks, but I think it's the way things are going, as the deputy has mentioned.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, I'm just going to check with staff to make sure that the recommendation was clear, that we have it all, and if there is anything that, any other information that's required to be able to follow out the direction. Everything's good? Okay, just wanted to make sure why we're still in the discussion. So everyone has had an opportunity. Back to the mover for final comment, if you wish.
Thank you, through your worship. I don't entirely disagree with the deputy mayor, but I think that I appreciate the support for this year because it gives us and staff an additional year to look at alternate, because there are noise-free, pollution-free ways to have light in the sky on Canada Day, but it's going to take some time to find out what those are and look at the price and maybe come up with an event that the entire township can enjoy together.
Thank you. So with that, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Opposed? Motion is carried. On to the economic development. Economic Growth and Community Development Services Department. Narcan Deep Energy Retrofit and GMF Net Zero Construction Municipal Support for Application. So, any information, additional information to share at this time?
There's nothing to add, Your Worship.
Thank you. So we have a report and the recommendation that the report from the Engineering and Environmental Division, April 11, 2023, Narcan Deep Energy Retrofit and GMF Net Zero Construction Municipal Support for Application be received, and that Loyalist Township Council support applications for the National Resources Canada Deep Retrofit Accelerator Initiative to develop deep retrofit plan for municipal facilities, and the Green Municipal Fund capital project, new construction of energy efficient facilities to construct the new utilities office to a net zero energy performance. I'm struggling. So moved. Deputy, seconded by Councillor Booker. Any comments? Seconder, anyone else? Councillor Pryor.
Through you, Your Worship, I have one question, and I just want to, I think I've got the answer in my head, but I want to be sure. On page 6 of the report, just above where it says GMF and then all these acronyms, it is anticipated capital costs would increase, and the increase in costs would be offset by the grant opportunity. So he's saying we get the grant, whatever program is, it's going to cost more, and if we don't, it costs less. I'm just unclear on what that meaning is.
Yes, so the grant application is in support for constructing the building to net zero energy standards. And by doing that, it would increase the capital cost of construction. Those increasing capital costs of construction would roughly be balanced out by the grant funding that we would receive.
And just to follow up, so in any project in this fund, how much of it is covered? Again, I know in the one, it's 100% of human resources. In the GMF, how much of the capital? I guess that's more of a capital program.
Yeah, so it is.
It vary.
It is a capital program through your worship. The calculation is a bit convoluted. Sorry, I'm trying to find it in the report there. So they'll provide a low interest loan of up to 5 million, although we wouldn't anticipate construction costs to be that much, and a grant worth up to 15% of the loan, covering up to 80% of the eligible costs. So basically, staff would complete an item by item analysis of the construction versus what's eligible versus not, and figure out what ballpark we'd be in. In this instance, I would anticipate it being around, I'll say 200,000, but it would sort of be dictated by what construction costs would be.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Motion is passed. Loyalist Township Community Hub, contractor selection and contract execution. Anything further to add to this at this time?
Nothing further to add, Your Worship.
Thank you. So we have the report, and the recommendation is that the report from the Engineering and Environmental Division, April 11, 2023, Community Hub, IPD contractor selection and contract execution be received, and that the mayor and CAO be authorized to sign an agreement with the successful proponent for RFP 2023-05, integrated project delivery, IPD contractor for WJ Henderson Recreation Center renewal. And McLennan Jacquelins Miller Associates, subject to the satisfactory conclusion of contract negotiations. Councilor Broderick.
I would move that we receive and approve the recommendation as presented in the report SR 2344.
Thank you. So moved, seconded by Councilor Willis. Any comments from the mover?
None.
Seconder? Anyone else? Seeing none, call the question. All in favor? Motion is passed. RFP 2023-07, construction management and refurbishment of the Fairfield Goodsite House. Anything to add at this time?
Nothing to add, Your Worship.
Thank you. We have the report. The recommendation is that the report from the Engineering and Environment Division, April 11, 2023, NRFP 2023-07, construction management for refurbishment of the Fairfield Goodsite House be received, and the council delegate authority to the CAO to approve award of the work packages with the values over $250,000 as they are developed for the project up to an approved budget amount. Do we have a mover to put this on the floor? Councillor Booth, seconded by Councillor Ennis. Mover, any comments? Seconder? Anyone else? Councillor Broderick.
Through you, Your Worship, just a couple of questions on the funding, sort of the budget right at the top there. What do you mean by contract administration, then brackets internal? Does that?
This, through you, Your Worship, that would be staff time spent on the project during construction.
And I'm putting myself out on a limb here. What is SITU? SITU. It's on page 4. I can't think of what that is. I can only come up with situation, but I don't know where it is.
The FGH is showcased in situ, would generally mean it's displayed as is.
Okay.
Situation, yeah.
Learned something new today. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Call the question. All those in favor? Motion is passed. Moving on to motions for consideration. Letter to the heads of council from Enbridge Gas, March 24, 2023, and this comes from Ayers. There is the attachment here with a suggested a request for council consider passing the following resolution, and I won't go through all the whereases. Therefore, be resolved that the Loyalist Township strongly opposes these utility locate costs being downloaded to Ontario municipalities by Enbridge Gas and other utilities, and that the province of Ontario's Ministry of Public and Business Services Delivery make it clear that these costs must be borne by the utilities themselves, and that this decision be forwarded to the Minister of Public and Business Service Delivery, Khalid Rashid, Minister of Infrastructure, Ines Suma, Minister of Energy, Todd Smith, Premier Ford Doug Ford, Loyalist Township's MPP Rick Brzee, and the Association of the Ontario Road Supervisors and the Association of Municipalities of Ontario. Furthermore, AORs will be sending this Public Works Senior Management and Directors a survey and to further the investigation. Council, how do you wish to proceed on this? Do you wish to support or receive? Councillor Broderick.
I would totally support this, given that Enbridge is using municipal right of ways right now. I understand at no cost. And also, just a personal observation, they're also in my last gas bill, they also asked me to go out and read the meter. So I'm seeing these little, they're tacking little pieces, and I'm not going out and reading the meter and then send them a check for hundreds of dollars. But they can't do that. I'm very disappointed, but I would support the motion as sent to us.
So moved, seconded by Councillor Broderick. Mover, you kind of spoke to it. Do you want to
Oh,
speak?
was I not allowed to speak?
Oh, no, we're good. Okay, seconder. Anyone else? Councillor Parks.
Yeah, I completely agree. We need to support this in whole. The challenges will be people will start to dig without permits or without the locates being done. It happened years ago, and this is part of the reason this was all brought in. So we need to support it.
Any other comments? I'm just going to add my 2 cents that I agree 100% with this as well. I'm thankful that AOR's brought this forward to us and addressed, and it's not just because I'm a member of AOR's, but this is good work by them to look out in the best interest of the municipalities. When you see the cost figures that some of these municipalities figure it's going to cost, it could, in a growing community like ours, it could be fairly significant. So with that, I'll call the question. All in favor? Motion is passed. Notice of motion, direct motion. Councillor Willis.
Through your worship, this evening I was handed a letter from the students of the Amherst Island Public School who are having a fundraiser on April 18th and have asked council to donate a book of ferry tickets. So because it's time sensitive, I'm asking council to give approvals for me to make a motion.
So direct motion, timeliness. Council takes 2/3 of the motion. And we have it. Please proceed. Do you want to present a motion?
Yes, I move that council approve the donation of a book of ferry tickets to the Amherst Island Public School for their fundraising, and that the money come from discretionary funds
Or wherever,
wherever.
staff, whatever budget it's in. So moved, seconded by Councillor Broderick. Mover.
Parks is easier to say.
Not crossed my mind. Any further comments from the mover?
Yes, I wish all council could read this letter because it's so well written, and I doubt that it used any AI. The students every year have a senior class trip, and this year they're going to Olympia, an adventure camp in Huntsville, to spend 3 days doing various outdoors activities such as zip lining, campfires, and high ropes. They work very hard to fundraise all school year to cover the cost of their big trip and to learn the importance of knowing that if you want to go somewhere or you want something, that you have to work hard for it and earn it. And they are respectfully asking for council's support of their donation.
Very good. Seconder. Any comment?
You know, I'm gonna make a comment. As a retired principal, I read the letter. It was great, and it's good to see young people, you know, going through the process and learning some things about maybe how council works and how they can do things for the betterment. And also Huntsville, it's a great camp. I've been there with classes before, and they'll have a blast.
Any other comments? Mayor, council? Just, that sounds like an amazing class trip.
They need chaperones.
Well, top. That it sounds excellent. It's great. The kids are getting outside, enjoying activities that probably will make them not miss anything other than what they're enjoying that day. And Huntsville's an amazing location for that. I've never done that, but I've been to Huntsville several times. It's very good. So with that, I'll call a question. All in favor? Motion is passed. Are there any other notices of motion or direct motion? Seeing none. Consent agenda. We have several here. The motion is that the items in the consent agenda dated April 11th, 2023 be approved and as presented, and that the necessary action be taken. Any items any member of council wishes to extract? Seeing none. Do we have a mover? Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Gruber. Any comments from the mover, the seconder, anyone else? Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Updates from members appointed to county council committees or the local boards. Councillor Roderick.
I had the pleasure of attending the Conservation Ontario AGM. And I'll leave a beautiful paper copy there, but I did send a report to all the councillors earlier today, if you get a chance to read it.
Thank you. Anything else? Seeing none. Members' privilege. Is there anything that members wish to bring forward? Councillor Willis.
On Saturday, April 1st, the island lost a former resident in Peter James Morgan. He was a longtime resident of the island with his wife Joyce and his daughter Leslie and her husband Gary, and their children and grandchildren continue to live on the island. So I'd like to express condolences to the family.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Councillor Willis and I kind of divided and counted today. I'd like to pay tribute to another longstanding island resident, Peter Large, who died this past Friday, March 28th, after a brief diagnosis with a very aggressive terminal disease. Peter was a valued member of the community, a man known for his gentlemanly nature and quality, his sharp mind, his wisdom, and his robust professional experience, which he offered in service to the community within various advocacy groups and volunteer organizations. Peter was also a well-respected artist, and his works have become an established feature of Amherst Island's artistic repertoire, with his drawings and paintings adorning the walls of many homes, including my own. Undoubtedly, Peter will be missed, and our thoughts turn to his wife, Margaret, who is grieving this sudden loss. Our deepest condolences are with her and Peter's family.
Thank you. Any other? Councillor Broderick.
Maybe on the other end of the scale, just wanted to recognize the Loyalist Jets U11 team who played in Ontario Provincials this year. Unfortunately, their 38-game winning streak ended at the wrong time, but they had a great time and represented us proudly. I'd also direct anybody who hasn't seen it to Google the Masters and watch the interview with Hayden Underhill, who's a young fellow from Amherst who was injured in the car accident, or the van accident with the Southwest Texas golf team last year. It was about a 9 to 11 minute feature on TSN one night and included the whole family. It was a tearjerker, but he represented himself and Loyalists very well.
Thank you. Any other items to bring forward? Seeing none, I just have a couple. I just send condolences to the family of Don Balston, longtime resident of the Odessa area, and her family still, some of them are in the area here. She passed away and will be missed by the community. The other, on a very positive note, we had our long service award for our staff members that have spent significant years working with the township and serving the residents. It was a great awards event, I believe. There was a few of us from council that were able to attend. The deputy and Councillor Willis and Councillor Broderick and myself attended. And just to put it in perspective, for that awards ceremony, I'm going to get the wrong number probably, but if I remember right, it was 460 years worth of service were recognized at that one event. So that's pretty outstanding. We had 3 that were at 35, if I remember correctly. So that's I take that as a very positive thing, both for the township and the corporation, and for the taxpayers to be serviced. There's a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience, and that goes a long way when you're dealing in the public and with technical and trying to mesh the two together like we do. So congratulations to everyone that received the Long Service Award. With that, if there's no others, we have the confirmatory bylaw. Do I have a mover for the confirmatory bylaw? Councillor Broderick and the deputy mayor. All in favor, please raise a hand. Thank you. Motion is passed. We have the upcoming meetings listed there. Just a note that on the 24th of this month, the council meeting will be virtual only, as the Odessa office will be closed for scheduled maintenance construction. With that, we have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a mover? Councillor Broderick, seconded by Councillor Parks. Question, all in favor? Motion is passed. We are adjourned. Thank you.